I'm Josh Swanson, Superintendent of Eden Prairie Schools. We know that when we have strong schools and safe schools, that we have successful students, and we have a long tradition here in Eden Prairie Schools of that. On May 14th, the community will be asked to go to the polls to vote on a bond referendum. I want to share some information along with some other staff today. Most recently, in 2014, our community supported an operating levy. Those dollars continue to be in place and support class size reductions, our interventionists, our academic coaches, and all the support for students and staff so we can continue our tradition of excellence. We went beyond the initial promise to lower class sizes in 2nd and 3rd grade and have plans to lower 4th grade this fall. Our class sizes have been some of the lowest in the West Metro. Another promise we made in 2014 was no budget reductions for at least 5 years, and our latest budget projection is that we can extend that promise out 3 more years, so those operating levy dollars will last for at least 8 years without any reductions. 3 years ago, we started a process to design a 10-year academic vision that was inclusive of the voice and values of the community. Thousands of people had their voices heard through focus groups, world cafes, community input sessions, and surveys. To realize the vision requires we make changes to our facilities. After careful research and gathering additional information from the community, the school board voted on January 7th to go to the polls on May 14th and ask the community to vote for a bond referendum. The purpose of that bond is so our facilities support the 10-year academic vision that is reflective of the voice and values of our community, and to ensure that is the learning experience for each of our students. There will be one question on the ballot. If approved by the community, it will allow us to move our 4-year-old preschool programming into our neighborhood boundary schools. We will be able to move our 6th graders from our elementary schools into our middle school. We will be able to make significant updates to classrooms and learning spaces at every school and site across the district that support personalized learning. And we will be able to make safety and security updates at every school.
Hi, I am Hernan Moncada, the principal of Eagle Heights Spanish Immersion. I want to start by talking to you a little bit about the pre-K experience. If the referendum passes, 4-year-old students will have more access to our preschool program. It will still be fee-based and an option program for families. Moving it into an elementary school will build stronger connections to kindergarten. Students will be more accustomed to their elementary school. Preschool will be housed in its own area, with the same careful supervision that preschool teachers and staff currently provide. We are not going to have 5th graders in the same area as preschool students. Preschool will continue to prepare students for kindergarten with intentional play activities, academic skills, their social and emotional learning. We know from other schools that have preschool in elementary schools, when those students arrive as kindergartners, they are more confident, they know the building, and they are better prepared on the first day of school. We need to pay attention to the unique needs of this age group. The referendum would provide funding to update schools if staff see particular needs for our pre-K scholars. Preschool students will travel to elementary schools on separate buses and at separate times of the day. They won't have pickup and drop-off with elementary families. By moving 6th graders to CMS and staggering start times for our preschool scholars, traffic flow at all schools will improve, which I know would be a relief.
Hi everyone, my name is Nathan Swenson, and I'm the principal at Central Middle School. For families looking at sending their students to 6th grade starting in 2021, let me start by talking about our teaming model. This is a strong, supportive model for our students. Students are organized into groups with a common set of teachers who get to know that group of students all year long. It's a way that we make our big school small. Adding an additional year to the middle school would give our 6th grade teachers the opportunity to help students acclimate to a new building and take the necessary time to build organizational skills and things like that as students begin their secondary school experience. CMS is a former high school building. It was built in the 1960s as all those baby boomers were getting into high school. It is a product of its era. And while we have maintained it very well over the years, it was suited for that time, and more importantly for the skills of that time that were in demand during the 20th century. The last we did any significant renovations to CMS was in 1994, almost 25 years ago. While we have kept up the maintenance, it's starting to show its age. And the options for digital learning at that time were all theoretical. People were still learning to use email in 1994. Looking at what a successful referendum would do for us, we would be able to update classrooms and learning spaces so that the collaboration, creativity, and flexibility that our teachers and students are already doing are matched with the right environment. Each Eden Prairie student goes through CMS at some point in their experience with us. It's Central Middle School, a central part of the experience in Eden Prairie. And we want to give this building a little TLC and some needed renovations. One of the things that I'm very proud about CMS is how many wonderful activities we have for 7th and 8th grade students. By bringing 6th grade to the middle school, we'd be able to offer those same opportunities to our 6th grade students as well. We have a whole host of different activities that get at the interests of students like artwork, theater, woodshop, and different athletics and co-curricular activities. Part of a successful bond referendum would also improve the theater and music experiences for our middle school students. A major component of the referendum is to provide a performing arts space for students and for our community. If you've seen our current theater space, the multi-purpose room, you know it's not really a great performance space. We are looking at a full-service performance space with practice rooms, music rooms, and a production area for sets and scenes. It will open up some wonderful educational opportunities for our 6th through 8th grade students. We also need to think about what gym looks like in the 21st century. It's about lifelong fitness and wellness, and not only about how to play soccer and basketball. We still teach team sports, but many people do not play team sports as a part of their fitness. They take yoga or go to a fitness center. With an additional gym and fitness area, we can have exceptional personal wellness instruction that matches the demands of today. So here's a look at a preliminary drawing of the west side of our building with our main entrance. Keep in mind this is not final, it is a draft. The theater addition is on the left. We'll renovate the front entrance and pick up and drop off areas as well. That's not shown in detail because we'll only start developing that if the referendum is successful. The theater space is to the left, and it would be a centerpiece for our students and our community. To the right are the gym addition and that personal wellness space I just talked about. As I mentioned, we would improve traffic flow at CMS. For those of you who have been stuck on the hill, you know exactly what I'm talking about. One of the things that we would try to do is improve the traffic flow to create a more safe and efficient parent pickup and drop-off zone. As you may know, at CMS there are 5 lunches, back to back to back to back to back. And with an improved bond, it would allow us to condense our lunch periods to a more reasonable number and time of day. So instead of students eating at 10 o'clock right now, they would eat at a more traditional lunchtime. So here we are looking at the east side of the school, which is where the bus loop is. You can see the expanded lunchroom on the right side. The current cafeteria design is from the 1960s, and we think we can do better for our students. There are more open concepts used today, more natural light, and we can create multiple serving lines to help get students their lunch more quickly. To the left is the addition of a classroom wing. We will continue to have the team concept where a group of students stay with the same teachers all year. This really helps make a larger school feel small, like I said before. And we'll update classrooms across the building to create some unity between the look and feel of the addition and the spaces currently existing at CMS.
Let's talk about Spanish immersion and what the referendum proposal means for Eagle Heights. First, about preschool. The 4-year-old pre-K program will be at Oak Point, and it is for families in the Oak Point attendance area and for Eagle Heights families who have an older sibling at Eagle Heights. We want to keep families together, and putting the preschool program at Oak Point allows us to do that. We will keep the same lottery process for Eagle Heights Kindergarten. There would be no extra benefit to having a preschool student at Oak Point. So if your neighborhood elementary school is more convenient for your family, you could choose that school for your pre-K scholar, and it will not affect the lottery process. Eden Prairie Schools has made a commitment to Spanish immersion education. We have invested in training teachers and creating a strong immersion environment. And moving 6th grade to the Central Middle School is the next step as we create a strong Spanish program from kindergarten to 12th grade. Now let me turn it over to our CMS principal, Nate Swanson.
Thanks, Hernan. One of the things I'm really excited about with the transition of 6th grade to CMS is that this is a great opportunity for our school to improve our immersion team. For students coming to us from Eagle Heights, we would keep the same 4 classes that 6th graders are taught in Spanish currently. As they do now, students would take their exploratory classes in English. But we would keep those immersion students and teachers together on one of our 6th grade teams. As we start planning with Spanish immersion teachers, one of the discussion points will be about ways we can continue the immersion experience in 6th grade. We also have to consider that we will have a group of students and teachers across 3 grade levels with strong Spanish language skills. That may open up opportunities we haven't yet considered. Our district has invested in immersion education substantially over the years, and we want to enhance that experience when they get to the middle school.
Safety continues to be a top priority for us as a school district. We have made substantial improvements over the years, and we continue to make improvements as we learn more about how to keep our schools safe. If passed, this bond referendum will allow us to make improvements to our exterior security at every school or site. We will be able to improve internal communication systems and create additional layers of security within schools. This will allow us to secure various parts of the building. We will add protective glass to our sites, which preserves the warm feel while also providing a safe environment.
Thanks, Josh. My name is Stacy Stanley, and I'm the Assistant Superintendent of Eden Prairie Schools. Eden Prairie Schools has been focused on having greater academic achievement by redesigning classrooms across the district to support more flexible learning environment and personalized learning. If the referendum passes, we would be able to redesign classrooms to support personalized learning in all schools. Over the last 20 years, educators have received more research telling us that people learn in different ways. Learning is not a straight linear process. It is a continuum. What works one day for someone might be different the next day. If we struggle to learn something, we need to try a different approach. So we are building this flexibility into our lesson designs. Think about the different tasks you do as an adult at home. When it's time to look at a household budget, maybe you're at a computer or at a table. When you're reading a book, maybe you switch to the couch to stretch out. When you meet with a friend, you're sitting together somewhere, maybe at a table or in a pair of comfortable chairs. Keep in mind that as you look at the picture on this slide, which is the traditional classroom most of us are familiar with, rows of desks, ready for a lecture from the teacher, it's effective for one-size-fits-all learning, and still there are appropriate times for this kind of teaching. As we look at what's possible, here's an example of a classroom being used today, a design and furniture that supports personalized learning. Just like adults who use different spaces to do different things, this classroom supports large group instruction where all students need to be together for lecture or lesson. But there's also space for small groups, one-on-one conferencing, and locations for students to read, write, or review. Students and teachers can move easily and quickly between all these ways of learning and teaching in the same class period. These are some concepts of how classrooms can be redesigned in creative ways. One size does not fit all. Notice how the hallway is being pulled into the learning space. Hallways do not always have to be empty during class time. Teachers already use hallways for conferences or small group work. Now we can be intentional about designing a group of classrooms and think about how we support collaboration, critical thinking, creativity, and communication. There is nothing final about these drawings. One benefit of our planning is that we will tailor the personalized learning spaces to each school.
Let's talk about budget and tax impact. Central Middle School will receive significant updates as we add on new learning spaces and update the building. Budget has been set aside to make any necessary updates to preschool spaces like bathrooms, playgrounds, counters, and furniture. Every school and site will benefit from updates to classrooms and spaces that support personalized learning and create the 21st century learning environment that Dr. Stanley described. This environment will be created through the use of furniture and remodeling specific to the site or space. Teachers and principals will be directly involved in developing the projects. Finally, safety and security projects will take place at every school and site with the dollars budgeted. We have planned responsibly, so our costs and expenses to ensure these projects are completed in a professional and timely manner are included. Our average homeowner will see a tax impact of $6.50 per month. This is for an average price home in Eden Prairie, which is approximately $400,000. So let's talk about fiscal stewardship and the portion of a tax bill that supports our schools. Looking at the school district portion of taxes on the average priced home, you can see that we are second from the bottom compared to our neighbors. Eden Prairie is at $1,724. You can see that Hopkins is just above us and that the state average is $1,832. Remember, this compares the taxes on the average home value, which is approximately $400,000, that support schools. So this is what happens if the bond is approved on May 14th. That $6.50 per average is about $78 annually. People want to know, what's the plan if the referendum is not approved? Preschool will stay where it's at and will continue to pay the lease for the education center while maintaining waiting lists. 6th grade students will stay with children in elementary schools. Central Middle School will continue to look like a school built for the demands of the 1960s. Other projects like safety and security updates and classroom improvements will happen at a much slower pace. Because we won't have the funding, it means that we'll have to prioritize some projects over others, and it could be another decade or more before we get to updating all classrooms or improving the learning environment at CMS. Thank you for taking the time to learn more about our referendum. If you have questions, you can find answers at our referendum website listed on the screen or reach out to our communications department. Please remember to vote on May 14th.